Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones. And as you can see, the topic today is the staff taking responsibility. And what do I mean by that? I mean North Carolina's football staff. The previously 10th ranked Tar Heels suffered the indignity of what most are calling the biggest upset of the college football season to date, as one win Virginia, and that was a come from behind win over at home over an FCS team, came into Kenan Stadium Saturday night and beat the Tar Heels. The Wahoos played way out of character because the Tar Heels allowed them to play way out of character. So Monday morning, as many of you know, we get Mac Brown every Monday morning at the Kenan Football Center for about 45 minutes. And then we get offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey and then defensive coordinator Gene Chizik for about 15 to 20 minutes each. And the thing that jumped out at me, and I think was the theme of Monday's press conferences, was accountability. They asked for accountability from the players. So the players and everybody would ask for accountability from the staff, and that's what you got. They totally took it on themselves. Mac started his press conference, and you should go back and listen if you haven't. Just listen to the first 5 minutes. You really should listen to all of it, but listen to the first 5 minutes. It's on me. My fault. And it is. It was his fault. It was Chip Lindsey's fault. It was Gene Chizik's fault. There are isolated areas we can really point to as to why it was their fault. And we'll do that throughout the course of this daily drop. Quick reminder, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. We'll have a word from them in several minutes. Okay, so why is it Mac's fault? It's Mac's fault because he's the head coach. The head coach is responsible for everything that happens. He said it himself. I hired these guys. I coach the coaches. It's my program. It's all my plan. He's responsible for every nook and cranny of the program. So when it doesn't win, of course, it's his fault. When it wins, yes, he gets credit for it too. That's what the record's for. Head coaches have records too. Why is it Chip's fault? Omarion Hampton. But Mac also said that was his fault. And that, I think, was the thing that ticked off and puzzled most Carolina fans. Certainly puzzled the media, didn't tick the media off, but puzzled the media because Omarion Hampton finished with 112 yards on 19 carries, but ran the ball just 5 times in the second half. He ran 5 times for 36 yards. He ran the ball once after basically in the fourth quarter. His next to last run came with 14:53 left in the game. He had one more run the rest of the game. Mac said that it's very difficult sometimes to communicate with the coordinator when they're in possession because things are happening so fast. And I can trust me, guys, it happens so incredibly fast there. It's not like sitting at home and say, well, you got to run Omarion more, or sitting in the stands and thinking the same thing, and there's 20 people around you saying the same thing. They have a plan. There's kind of a battle concept there where they're trying to combat what it is Virginia's doing. And Virginia was throwing some stuff at them that they hadn't previously prepped for, but they didn't adjust well. That's what adjustments are for. That's what Chip Lindsey gets paid the big bucks for, and that's what Mac gets paid the bigger bucks for as a head coach, to say, maybe not during the possession, but after possession, hey, we got to get Omarion out there more. Again, it's the heat of what's going on. And Mac said that when he was an offensive coordinator, sometimes a game would end and he'd go, oh my gosh, I should have done that more. Or I shouldn't have done that. It's human nature, right? Chip said today, and I'm recording this Monday night, that not running Omarion more in the second half probably cost him the game. And it could have. But here's this complimentary football thing that I'm going to get at in just a minute, because it's not just that. The defense didn't live up to its end either. And there was a period there where this program has done very well playing complimentary football where it didn't. It went away on both sides at exactly the same time and at the absolute wrong time. I'll get into that in just a moment. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
Yes, guys, we are so excited to be partnered with Underdog fantasy. And we decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry right now as well. And Underdog Fantasy has so much to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. And you can 20x your money by going just 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, you need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with the promo code HEEL, HEEL, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with that promo code HEEL to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
All right. So what is that complimentary part? It goes directly to the moment Carolina scored to go up 24-14, 9:35 left in the third quarter. They've got a one-win team that had played well, really well up to that point, but they look at the scoreboard and it's a 10-point game, and Carolina hadn't played that well. Certainly not inspired football. They'll tell you that, but it's a 10-point game. That's the moment in time when the defense, which has backed up the offense and stood up at some point, especially in the second half all year long, where the adjustments should have shown themselves because they've been so good at making adjustments. That's the moment the defense goes out there, gets a stop, gives the ball back to the offense, and what do they do up 10 in that situation? Because Drake was already having a rough night. Just wasn't as sharp as he'd been. In fact, it was probably the most off I've seen him, not just because he missed half his passes. There were drops in there that affected his percentage for sure, but he was still more off on his misses than usual. So it's an ugly night. Gene Chizik said they were out of sync. Chip Lindsey said it was a weird night. They weren't smooth. So what do you do in a case like that? One thing was working that you want to work. That's part of the pregame plan, Omari and Hampton. So the defense at 24-14 gets a stop, give the offense the ball back. You just give it to 28. You ride that horse to the finish line. So, yes, Mac and Chip Lindsey accepted responsibility for Omari not running more. But you know what? The defense gave up a touchdown. And I think the staff kind of felt like, we've got to ride this golden boy arm here. We're so used to him leading them to victory, they got to ride him some more. And that's why I think they ended up throwing too much and ignored Omari a little bit. If the defense stands up at that precise time, midway through the third quarter, give the ball back to the offense, even if they only get a field goal, they basically go up 2 touchdowns. But you give it to Omari and you plow ahead. Now, I thought the offensive line actually played okay Saturday night. If you get a touchdown and you go up 31-14, the game's over. So that's the complementary section of the game in which neither side of the ball complemented one another. It wasn't there. And that's why they lost. There are other reasons why they lost too. And I don't want to get into all that because, quite frankly, this would be a 35-minute drop and nobody wants a 35-minute drop. But kudos to Mac for coming in and saying what he said, taking full responsibility. Kudos to Chip Lindsey for doing the same thing. And I asked Gene Chizik Monday about that moment in time at 24-14. He took responsibility too. So that's what you want. The Carolina fans that are listening or watching this drop, none of you are happy about what happened, but you can't change what happened. It did. So the next best thing you can get out of it is the staff taking responsibility and the players taking responsibility. We will talk to them Tuesday. And by all accounts, Sunday was a hard day, but it was an honest day. And they're able to move this thing forward. So they still have 5 games left. They can win all 5. They can lose a few of them too. So I don't want to go down that trail right now of, is this the Georgia Tech game of last year? That's a different topic for a different day. Maybe I'll hit on that later this week. Right now, the important thing is, yeah, they embrace the fact that they maybe should have done some different stuff and didn't handle that sequence in time as well as they should have. They've been doing it all year, didn't do it Saturday, and they suffered an embarrassing loss, a loss that takes them out of the CFP, the college football playoff conversation. It should. And right now, they just need to worry about Georgia Tech. That's going to be a tough game. Jacob and I'll hit on that later this week with the football show as well. If you like the fact that the coaches accepted responsibility, go ahead and hit like on this podcast. If you believe that the team will move forward and be better moving forward, having gone through this experience, go ahead and click like as well. Make sure you share this podcast with all your Carolina friends. Let them know we are here, not just this channel, but our site, TarHeelIllustrated.com, where you can be a premium subscriber and Tar Heel Insider for just $8.33 a month. Subscribe to our channel, hit notification bell so you get updates every time we post a video, which is often. And remember, I got ACC basketball tip-off in Charlotte Wednesday, so we'll have a ton of stuff coming your way about the Hoops Heels. I'm AJ. Thanks for stopping by.